the strange power of belief inside the human brain. Long before scientists understood the chemistry of the brain, people noticed something mysterious. Sometimes a person could begin healing simply because they believed they would. A patient might drink ordinary water thinking it was medicine and suddenly feel calmer, lighter, or even experience less pain. Today, science calls this phenomenon the placebo effect, one of the most fascinating connections between the mind and body ever discovered. The placebo effect is not fake healing. Brain scans show that belief can create measurable biological changes inside the nervous system. When someone truly expects relief, the brain may release natural chemicals such as endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin. These chemicals can influence mood, stress levels, pain perception, and even immune responses. One of the most interesting discoveries is that expectation changes how the brain predicts reality. The brain is constantly trying to forecast what will happen next. If it strongly believes healing is coming, it sometimes adjusts the body accordingly. In a way, the mind becomes a quiet pharmacist working in the background. Researchers studying pain found that placebo treatments can activate some of the same brain regions triggered by real pain medication. During experiments, volunteers receiving placebo pills often showed reduced activity in areas associated with suffering and discomfort. The brain reacted as if genuine medicine had entered the body. Even more surprising, placebo responses can happen when people know they are taking a placebo. In certain studies, patients were openly told the pills contained no active drug. Yet some still experienced improvement. Scientists think the ritual of treatment itself, swallowing a pill, hearing reassuring words, following a healing routine, may influence the nervous system. The power of human expectation can also be seen in sports. Athletes who believe they consumed performance-enhancing supplements sometimes run faster or lift more weight, even when the substance is inactive. Confidence changes focus, motivation, and energy levels in ways that affect real physical performance. Doctors once believed placebos only affected imaginary symptoms. Modern neuroscience now suggests the effect is far more complex. Conditions involving pain, stress, fatigue, anxiety, and sleep may all be influenced by the brain's expectations. The mind does not magically cure everything, but it can quietly shape how the body experiences illness. Scientists discovered another curious detail: the color and size of a placebo pill matter. Large pills may seem more powerful than small ones. Capsules often appear stronger than tablets. Even color changes perception. Warm colors like red or orange may feel stimulating, while blue tablets are sometimes associated with calmness and sleep. This effect extends beyond medicine. Expensive products are often perceived as more effective than cheaper versions, even when identical. In experiments, people experienced greater pain relief from placebo pills labeled as expensive compared to discount versions. Human expectation appears deeply connected to perceived value. The relationship between doctors and patients also plays a major role. A calm, confident doctor can unintentionally strengthen placebo responses. Warm communication, empathy, and reassurance may help activate feelings of safety inside the brain. When humans feel safe, the nervous system often relaxes. Interestingly, animals may experience placebo-like effects too. Pets sometimes improve after treatment because owners behave differently around them, becoming calmer, more attentive, and more hopeful. Animals can sense subtle emotional changes in humans. Some researchers believe the placebo effect evolved as a survival mechanism. Early humans who trusted healers or believed recovery was possible may have experienced lower stress levels, better sleep, and stronger immune responses. Over thousands of years, the connection between hope and healing may have become deeply wired into the human brain. The opposite phenomenon also exists. It is called the nocebo effect. When people expect negative side effects, they may experience real symptoms even from harmless substances. Fear itself can influence the body. This demonstrates how powerful expectations truly are. Ancient healing rituals across cultures often relied heavily on belief, atmosphere, symbols, and trust. Candlelight, chants, herbs, ceremonies, and sacred objects may have helped calm the human mind long before modern medicine existed. The placebo effect could partly explain why some ancient remedies appeared effective. Brain imaging technology revealed that placebo effects involve multiple brain networks communicating together. Areas linked to emotion, memory, attention, and pain processing all participate. Healing is not isolated to one single location in the brain. It is more like an orchestra of expectations. Sleep researchers discovered that placebo effects may even influence fatigue and restfulness. In one study, participants who believed they slept well sometimes performed better mentally, even if their actual sleep quality had not improved. The brain's interpretation of rest mattered almost as much as the rest itself. The placebo effect also teaches scientists something deeply human. The brain is not a passive machine simply reacting to reality. It actively shapes experience. Thoughts, beliefs, memories, and emotions quietly interact with the body every moment of life. And perhaps that is why the placebo effect continues to fascinate researchers around the world. It reminds us that the boundary between mind and body is far less separate than people once imagined. As the night grows quieter, it becomes calming to realize that inside every human brain exists an invisible conversation, a silent dialogue between belief, biology, expectation. How the brain creates real physical changes from pure expectation. Deep inside the human brain, billions of neurons communicate through tiny electrical signals every second. These signals shape emotions, memories, movement, and even physical sensations. But one of the strangest discoveries in neuroscience is that expectation alone can sometimes influence these signals in measurable ways. When scientists first began studying the placebo effect seriously, many assumed the results were mostly psychological. Yet brain scans soon revealed something remarkable. People receiving inactive treatments often showed genuine changes inside the brain and body. The effects were not imaginary. The biology itself was shifting. One famous area involved in placebo responses is the prefrontal cortex, the region associated with planning, decision-making, and expectation. When a person believes relief is coming, this part of the brain becomes highly active. It begins communicating with deeper regions linked to pain, emotion, and stress regulation. The brain does not simply react to the world. It constantly predicts what the world will feel like. Neuroscientists sometimes describe the brain as a prediction machine. Every moment, it compares incoming sensory information with expectations built from memory and belief. This predictive system can dramatically shape human experience. If the brain strongly expects pain relief, it may reduce the intensity of pain signals traveling through the nervous system. The sensation becomes softer, quieter, and less distressing. One of the body's most powerful natural painkillers is a group of chemicals called endorphins. These molecules are sometimes described as the body's internal opioids because they can reduce pain and create feelings of calm. During placebo experiments, researchers discovered that belief itself may trigger endorphin release. In some studies, scientists gave volunteers placebo pain medication while secretly administering naloxone, a drug that blocks opioid receptors. Surprisingly, the placebo pain relief often disappeared. This suggested the brain had truly released natural opioid chemicals simply because the person expected relief. Another chemical deeply connected to placebo responses is dopamine. Dopamine plays a major role in motivation, reward, learning, and pleasure. When humans anticipate something positive, dopamine activity often increases. This may explain why hope itself can influence mood and energy. Patients with Parkinson's disease provided another fascinating clue. Parkinson's affects dopamine-producing neurons in the brain, leading to movement difficulties. In certain experiments, Placebo treatments caused temporary dopamine release in some patients, improving movement for short periods of time. Expectation alone briefly altered brain chemistry. Stress also plays an enormous role in the placebo effect. Fear and anxiety activate the body's stress response system, increasing cortisol and tension throughout the nervous system. But reassurance, trust, and positive expectation may calm this response, allowing the body to shift toward relaxation and recovery. The autonomic nervous system controls many unconscious processes such as heart rate, digestion, breathing, and blood pressure. Scientists believe placebo responses may influence this system as well. When humans feel safe and hopeful, the parasympathetic nervous system, often called the rest and digest system, becomes more active. This calming effect may partly explain why caring medical environments sometimes improve patient experiences. Soft lighting, reassuring voices, gentle touch, and quiet surroundings can all influence emotional states. The brain constantly absorbs subtle signals from the environment. Researchers also discovered that rituals strengthen placebo responses. The act of taking medicine at the same time every day, visiting a doctor, or following a treatment plan may reinforce the brain's expectation that healing is occurring. Humans are deeply ritualistic creatures, even in modern societies. Interestingly, injections often produce stronger placebo effects than pills. Surgeries may create even stronger responses than injections. The more dramatic or complex the treatment appears, the more convincing it becomes to the brain. This effect has created difficult ethical questions for medicine. Doctors cannot deceive patients unnecessarily, yet researchers also recognize that expectation influences outcomes. Many modern physicians now focus on improving communication, empathy, and trust without misleading patients. Children may experience placebo effects even more strongly than adults. Young minds are highly imaginative and responsive to suggestion. A comforting voice, gentle reassurance, or trusted caregiver can significantly shape how a child experiences discomfort or fear. The opposite effect, known as the nocebo effect, reveals the darker side of expectation. If people believe something harmful will happen, the brain may amplify discomfort. Patients warned extensively about side effects sometimes experience symptoms even when receiving inactive substances. In one unusual experiment, people developed headaches after exposure to harmless fake electromagnetic devices because they believed the devices were dangerous. Their expectations shaped real physical sensations. The placebo effect also appears connected to learning and conditioning. If a person repeatedly experiences relief after taking medication, the brain may eventually associate the treatment ritual itself with healing. Over time, the body begins responding automatically. Some scientists compare this process to Pavlov's famous experiments with dogs. Just as dogs learn to associate bells with food, humans may associate medical rituals with recovery. The nervous system learns patterns surprisingly quickly. Even the appearance of hospitals and clinics matters. White coats, medical equipment, diplomas on walls, and professional environments all signal authority and safety to the brain. These details quietly influence human psychology. Culture also shapes placebo responses. Different societies have different beliefs about medicine, healing, and authority. A treatment considered powerful in one culture may feel less convincing in another. Human expectations are partly learned from the world around us. Modern neuroscience continues uncovering how deeply thoughts and biology intertwine. The placebo effect does not mean illness is imaginary. Instead, it reveals that the brain actively participates in shaping physical experience every second of life. And perhaps the most calming realization is this: inside the silent darkness of the human mind, expectation itself can become a biological force, gently influencing chemistry, sensation, emotion, and even the rhythms of the body as night slowly drifts on. The most mysterious placebo experiments ever conducted. Throughout medical history, certain placebo experiments have left scientists shocked by how powerfully the human mind can influence the body. Again and again, researchers discovered that belief alone could sometimes create effects no one fully expected. One of the most famous placebo studies took place during World War II. Supplies of morphine were running dangerously low, and doctors struggled to treat wounded soldiers suffering intense pain. According to medical stories later shared by anesthesiologist Henry Beecher, nurses sometimes injected injured soldiers with simple saline solution instead of morphine while telling them it was powerful pain medicine. Surprisingly, many soldiers relaxed after receiving the injections. Some reported reduced pain and became calm enough for surgery. The expectation of relief appeared strong enough to change how the brain processed suffering. This experience deeply influenced modern placebo research. Beecher later became one of the first scientists to seriously investigate how belief and expectation affect medicine. In another fascinating experiment, researchers tested placebo caffeine. Volunteers were told they had consumed caffeine even though the drinks contained none. Yet many participants became more alert, energetic, and focused. Some even experienced increased heart rates similar to mild caffeine stimulation. The brain had reacted to the expectation of energy before any real stimulant entered the body. One especially strange study involved fake oxygen. Athletes inhaled ordinary air but were told it contained high-performance oxygen mixtures designed to improve endurance. Many participants performed better physically afterward. Confidence and expectation changed how hard their bodies pushed themselves. Scientists also studied placebo surgery, one of the most controversial areas in medical research. In several experiments involving knee pain and arthritis, some patients underwent real surgery while others received only small skin incisions without the actual surgical procedure. Astonishingly, many patients in the placebo surgery group improved almost as much as those who received real operations. Pain levels dropped, movement improved, and recovery reports were often similar. Researchers believe part of this improvement may have come from expectation, rehabilitation exercises, attention from medical staff, and the body's natural healing systems working together. One of the most dramatic placebo stories involved a man participating in a clinical trial for depression medication. During a moment of emotional crisis, he swallowed dozens of pills in an apparent overdose attempt. Soon after, he became weak, dizzy, and dangerously ill. Doctors worked urgently to stabilize him. But later, they discovered something unexpected. The man had been assigned to the placebo group. The pills contained no active drug at all. Once he learned the truth, many of his symptoms rapidly disappeared. This remarkable case demonstrated the enormous influence of belief and fear on the human body. The expectation of danger alone had triggered real physical distress. Researchers studying sleep also uncovered curious placebo effects. In one experiment, volunteers were falsely told they had achieved excellent deep sleep during the night. Even participants who slept poorly often performed better on mental tasks after hearing this information. Scientists sometimes call this placebo sleep. The belief that one slept well may partially influence alertness and cognitive performance. Another famous placebo experiment involved alcohol. Participants drank beverages with no alcohol while believing they were consuming strong cocktails. Many began behaving as though intoxicated, becoming more social, relaxed, and less inhibited. Some even showed mild coordination changes despite remaining chemically sober. This revealed how strongly expectations and social conditioning shape behavior. Placebo effects have also appeared in expensive-looking treatments. In one study, participants received identical placebo pain medication, but one version was labeled as costly while the other appeared cheap. The expensive placebo consistently produced stronger pain relief. The brain often associates higher value with greater effectiveness. Packaging, branding, medical authority, and visual presentation all influence perception more than most people realize. Color psychology plays a role as well. Red placebo pills may feel stimulating. Blue pills often seem calming or sleep-inducing. White pills are frequently associated with cleanliness and simplicity. Human brains unconsciously attach emotional meaning to colors. In one remarkable Parkinson's disease study, patients believed they were receiving advanced brain treatment. Some temporarily experienced improved movement and reduced tremors. Brain imaging showed measurable dopamine release triggered by expectation alone. This suggested belief itself could briefly alter neurological function. Researchers studying chronic pain found another strange phenomenon. Sometimes placebo effects became stronger over time rather than weaker. Positive treatment experiences reinforced the brain's expectations, creating a cycle of growing confidence and reduced discomfort. Scientists call this conditioning, when the brain learns to anticipate relief based on repeated experiences. Military experiments during stressful situations also showed that confidence and expectation influence endurance. Soldiers who believed they had received performance-enhancing substances often tolerated fatigue better and remained mentally sharper for longer periods. The placebo effect has even appeared in animal research. In some veterinary studies, pet owners reported improvements after animals received inactive treatments. Scientists suspect owner behavior changed subtly, becoming calmer, more attentive, and more hopeful, which then affected the animals themselves. Perhaps one of the most mysterious findings is that placebo responses vary dramatically between individuals. Some people respond very strongly, while others experience little effect. Researchers still do not fully understand why. Genetics, personality, optimism, past experiences, trust, anxiety levels, and brain chemistry may all contribute. Modern scientists continue searching for answers because understanding the placebo effect could improve medicine itself. If doctors better understand how expectation influences healing, treatments may become more effective overall. Yet despite decades of research, the placebo effect still feels strangely mysterious. The idea that thoughts, beliefs, and expectations can shape biology continues to blur the line between mind and body. And as the world grows quiet at night, it becomes strangely comforting to imagine that somewhere deep inside every human brain exists an invisible system, silently listening to hope, fear, trust, and expectation, shaping the body in ways science is still learning to understand. The hidden connection between emotions, stress, and healing. Every human body carries an invisible conversation between the brain and the immune system. Thoughts influence emotions, emotions influence stress, and stress quietly affects nearly every organ in the body. The placebo effect may be one of the clearest examples of how deeply connected these systems truly are. For centuries, doctors noticed that hopeful patients sometimes recovered more comfortably than fearful ones. Modern neuroscience now suggests this observation was not simply imagination. Emotional states can influence hormones, inflammation, heart rate, immune responses, sleep quality, and even pain perception. One of the key players in this process is cortisol, often called the stress hormone. When humans experience fear, anxiety, or uncertainty, cortisol levels rise. In short bursts, cortisol helps the body survive danger. But when stress continues for long periods, the nervous system may become exhausted. Chronic stress can influence sleep, digestion, concentration, memory, and immune function. Scientists believe the placebo effect may partly work by reducing stress and restoring feelings of safety inside the brain. Safety is incredibly important to the nervous system. When the brain senses danger, it shifts the body into survival mode. Heart rate increases, muscles tighten, and attention narrows. But when the brain feels calm and protected, the body may move into a restorative state. This calming system is controlled largely by the parasympathetic nervous system. It slows the heartbeat, relaxes breathing, improves digestion, and supports recovery processes throughout the body. Some scientists believe positive expectations may help activate this system. One fascinating experiment involved hospital room environments. Patients recovering in rooms with natural sunlight and views of trees sometimes healed faster and required less pain medication compared to patients facing blank walls. Small environmental details influenced emotional states and stress levels. Nature itself appears to calm the nervous system. Soft sounds, flowing water, forests, rain, and ocean waves may reduce stress activity in the brain. This could partly explain why calming environments feel physically restorative. The placebo effect may also connect closely with trust. Humans are social creatures whose nervous systems constantly respond to other people. A reassuring voice, kind facial expression, or calm presence can reduce anxiety surprisingly quickly. Researchers discovered that warm doctor-patient interactions sometimes strengthen treatment outcomes. Patients often feel safer when doctors appear attentive, empathetic, and confident. The brain interprets emotional reassurance as a signal that danger may be decreasing. Loneliness appears to influence the body in the opposite direction. Studies suggest chronic isolation may increase stress hormones and inflammation. Human connection itself may support emotional regulation and physical resilience. Scientists studying meditation found another intriguing relationship between the mind and the body. Deep relaxation practices can slow breathing, reduce stress activity, and alter brainwave patterns. Some meditation techniques even influence pain perception in ways similar to placebo responses. Breathing itself plays a surprisingly powerful role. Slow, steady breathing sends calming signals through the vagus nerve, one of the body's major communication pathways between the brain and internal organs. As breathing slows, the body often begins relaxing automatically. This may explain why rituals involving calm breathing, prayer, chanting, or quiet reflection appear in cultures throughout history. Long before neuroscience existed, humans intuitively discovered ways to soothe the nervous system. Music also affects emotional and biological states. Soft repetitive rhythms can slow heart rate and encourage relaxation. Certain frequencies and ambient sounds may help guide the brain toward calmer patterns associated with sleep and restfulness. Many nighttime relaxation videos combine gentle narration with soft ambient tones because the brain responds strongly to predictable, soothing sensory input. The nervous system often relaxes when the environment feels stable and safe. Scientists studying laughter found another interesting effect. Genuine laughter may reduce stress hormones and increase endorphin activity. Even anticipation of enjoyable experiences can influence mood and physiology positively. The immune system itself appears sensitive to emotional states. Researchers in the study of interactions between psychology, the nervous system, and immunity, discovered that stress and emotions can influence immune activity in complex ways. Although emotions alone cannot cure serious disease, chronic stress may place additional strain on the body. Conversely, relaxation, optimism, and emotional support may help improve overall resilience and comfort. The placebo effect may partly emerge from this larger mind-body network. When humans believe they are receiving help, the brain may shift from fear toward safety. That shift can influence hormones, neurotransmitters, muscle tension, sleep quality, and perception of symptoms. Children demonstrate this connection especially clearly. A frightened child may calm almost instantly after hearing comforting words from a trusted parent. The emotional sense of safety changes the body within seconds. Animals experience similar effects. Pets often relax when owners remain calm during stressful situations. Emotional states can spread quietly between living beings. Researchers have even observed placebo responses during virtual reality experiences. In some experiments, immersive calming environments reduce discomfort and anxiety simply by altering perception and attention. The brain is constantly interpreting reality rather than passively observing it. What humans expect, fear, trust, and focus on all influence nervous system activity. Sleep itself may also interact with placebo responses. During deep sleep, the brain reorganizes emotional information, restores energy, and regulates stress systems. Better emotional states may support healthier sleep, while healthier sleep improves emotional regulation in return. This creates a quiet cycle between mind and body that continues every day and night of human life. Perhaps this is why comforting rituals feel so powerful. A warm blanket, soft lighting, gentle music, herbal tea, familiar routines, and calm voices all communicate safety to the brain. The nervous system responds to these signals automatically, and somewhere in the silence of the night, while thoughts slowly drift and breathing becomes softer, the human body continues its endless hidden conversation. A delicate exchange between emotion, biology, memory, stress, and healing that has existed for thousands of years. Ancient healing rituals and the origins of the placebo effect. Thousands of years before modern hospitals, brain scans, or neuroscience laboratories existed, humans were already searching for ways to heal pain, fear, illness, and suffering. Across nearly every ancient civilization, healers developed rituals involving herbs, chants, symbols, touch, music, smoke, prayer, and sacred ceremonies. Many of these practices may have worked partly through one of the oldest biological systems in human history, expectation. The placebo effect is often discussed as a modern scientific discovery, but the roots of it may stretch deep into humanity's distant past. Long before people understood bacteria or chemistry, belief itself may have quietly influenced healing experiences. Ancient Egyptian healers used elaborate medical rituals combining natural remedies with spiritual symbolism. Patients entered calm temple environments filled with incense, candlelight, rhythmic chanting, and sacred imagery. These surroundings likely shaped emotional states and expectations long before formal medicine existed. In ancient Greece, temples dedicated to healing gods became places where people traveled seeking recovery from illness. One famous healing figure was Asclepius, whose temples often included quiet sleeping chambers where patients rested overnight hoping for healing dreams. These temples were peaceful environments designed to create feelings of safety, hope, and spiritual comfort. Even today, rest and emotional calm remain important for recovery. In traditional Chinese medicine, healing often involved balance, energy flow, breathing, herbs, acupuncture, and careful observation of the body. Ritual, trust, and patient belief may have strengthened many treatment experiences alongside physical techniques themselves. Indigenous healing traditions around the world also relied heavily on atmosphere and community. Drumming, storytelling, singing, rhythmic movement, and ceremonial gatherings often created deeply emotional experiences capable of calming fear and strengthening social connection. Humans appear naturally responsive to ritual. Repeated actions create predictability, and predictability can reduce anxiety. The brain often relaxes when it recognizes familiar patterns. This may explain why modern medicine still contains many ritual-like elements. Waiting rooms, medical uniforms, prescriptions, scheduled doses, and clinical procedures all create structured experiences that influence patient expectations. Some historians believe ancient shamans and healers unknowingly acted as early placebo specialists. Their confidence, authority, symbolic tools, and calming presence may have activated powerful psychological responses in patients. The human brain tends to trust certainty. When a healer appeared calm and knowledgeable, patients may have experienced reduced stress and increased hope, both of which can influence physical sensations. Touch also played a major role in ancient healing traditions. Gentle physical contact may reduce stress hormones and promote feelings of safety. Even today, comforting touch can slow heart rate and calm emotional distress. Certain ancient herbal remedies did contain active medicinal compounds. while others may have worked primarily through expectation and emotional reassurance. Often, the two effects likely blended together. Researchers studying anthropology notice something fascinating. Healing ceremonies across completely different cultures often share similar features. Many involve rhythmic sounds, symbolic objects, focused attention, social support, and strong emotional meaning. These elements may influence the nervous system in universal human ways. Rhythm appears especially powerful. Drumming, chanting, breathing exercises, and repetitive sounds can alter attention and emotional states. Slow, predictable rhythms often encourage relaxation and mental calmness. Even modern sleep videos and meditation music use similar principles. Soft, repetitive audio helps the brain settle into quieter patterns. Firelight may also have played a role in ancient healing environments. Anthropologists suggest humans evolved spending evenings around glowing fires listening to calm voices and stories. Warm, flickering light naturally encourages relaxation and social bonding. The brain may still respond to these ancient sensory cues today. Placebo responses may have offered evolutionary advantages for early humans. Individuals who trusted caregivers and believed recovery was possible may have experienced reduced stress, improved cooperation, and better emotional resilience during illness. Hope itself may have supported survival. In medieval Europe, healing relics and sacred objects attracted enormous numbers of people seeking relief from suffering. Pilgrimages to holy locations often involved intense emotional expectation, prayer, and community support. While not all cures were genuine, some people likely experienced real symptom improvement through reduced stress, emotional comfort, and placebo-related mechanisms. Interestingly, modern science discovered that expectation can influence not only pain but also fatigue, nausea, anxiety, mood, and even motor performance. Ancient healers may have unknowingly worked with these same systems. The smell of herbs and incense may also affect the brain more than many realize. Certain scents can trigger emotional memories and relaxation responses almost instantly. Smell is deeply connected to the brain's emotional centers. Storytelling itself may have healing value as well. Calm narratives and reassuring explanations help organize fear and uncertainty. Humans often feel safer when experiences are given meaning. This could explain why bedtime stories, myths, and gentle spoken narration remain comforting even in adulthood. Ancient societies also understood the importance of social healing. People rarely faced illness entirely alone. Families, communities, rituals, and ceremonies created shared emotional experiences that reduced isolation. Modern neuroscience increasingly supports the idea that social connection influences stress regulation and emotional resilience. Perhaps the placebo effect reveals something profoundly ancient about humanity. The human nervous system evolved not only in response to food and danger, but also in response to symbols, trust, rituals, relationships, and belief. Long before advanced medicine existed, the mind itself may have already been quietly participating in healing. And as darkness settles softly across the world tonight, it becomes calming to imagine generations of humans before us, sitting beside fires, listening to gentle voices, believing in recovery, and unknowingly activating the same mysterious connection between mind and body that science still studies today. Sleep, dreams, and the placebo effect during the night. As night slowly settles across the world, the human brain begins changing in remarkable ways. Heart rate slows, breathing softens, body temperature drops slightly, and consciousness drifts into quieter states. Yet even during sleep, the brain never truly becomes inactive. Scientists now believe the placebo effect may continue influencing the body long after a person closes their eyes. Sleep is one of the most mysterious biological processes in existence. For nearly 1/3 of human life, the brain enters altered states that researchers are still trying to fully understand. During sleep, memories reorganize, emotional stress is processed, hormones fluctuate, and countless repair systems quietly activate throughout the body. The connection between sleep and expectation is surprisingly powerful. Researchers discovered that people who believe they slept well often perform better mentally the next day, even when their actual sleep quality was average. In some experiments, volunteers were falsely told their brain activity showed excellent deep sleep. Many became more alert and confident afterward simply because they believed they were well rested. Scientists sometimes refer to this as placebo sleep. The brain's interpretation of rest may partly shape how refreshed humans feel in the morning. This does not mean sleep itself is imaginary. Deep sleep remains biologically essential for health, memory, emotional regulation, and immune function. But perception also matters. The mind's beliefs about rest can influence energy, focus, and mood. Dreams may play an important role as well. During rapid eye movement sleep, often called REM sleep, the brain becomes highly active. Emotional memories, fears, hopes, and experiences are processed in unusual ways. Some neuroscientists believe dreams help the brain reorganize emotional information and reduce psychological stress. Ancient cultures often viewed dreams as healing experiences. In certain Greek healing temples dedicated to Asclepius, patients slept in sacred chambers hoping to receive meaningful dreams connected to recovery. Modern science cannot confirm supernatural healing dreams, but researchers do know that emotional states strongly influence sleep quality and nighttime brain activity. Stress and anxiety often make sleep lighter and more fragmented. The nervous system remains partially alert, as though watching for danger. But feelings of safety and comfort encourage deeper relaxation. This may explain why bedtime rituals feel so calming. Soft lighting, warm blankets, herbal tea, gentle narration, rain sounds, and slow music all send signals of safety to the brain. Over time, the nervous system begins associating these rituals with rest itself. Humans are highly conditioned creatures. If a person repeatedly listens to calming sounds before sleep, the brain may eventually begin relaxing automatically as soon as those sounds begin. Researchers studying insomnia discovered that anxiety about sleep often makes sleep problems worse. People who become afraid they will not fall asleep may unintentionally keep their nervous systems alert. Ironically, trying too hard to sleep can increase wakefulness. This creates a strange cycle where fear of sleeplessness becomes part of the problem itself. Placebo sleep treatments have produced fascinating results in some insomnia studies. Participants taking inactive sleep pills occasionally reported improved rest simply because they believed help was arriving. The ritual of preparing for sleep matters deeply to the brain. One reason nighttime routines feel powerful is because the brain loves predictability. Repeated calming behaviors reduce uncertainty, and reduced uncertainty lowers stress activity. The body's circadian rhythm also influences emotional and physical states throughout the night. Hormones rise and fall in carefully timed cycles controlled partly by light exposure. Darkness naturally encourages melatonin production, helping the brain prepare for sleep. Modern artificial lighting may interfere with this ancient biological rhythm. For most of human history, evenings were illuminated mainly by firelight and moonlight. Bright screens and intense artificial light are relatively new experiences for the human nervous system. Some sleep researchers believe gentle nighttime environments more closely match the conditions under which the human brain evolved. Music may also affect nighttime placebo responses. Slow repetitive rhythms encourage relaxation by influencing breathing patterns and emotional states. Ambient sleep music often uses predictable tones that help stabilize attention. Many people report falling asleep faster while listening to calm documentaries or gentle educational narration. The combination of soft voices and interesting information provides enough mental focus to quiet anxious thoughts without overstimulating the brain. This balance creates a peaceful mental state somewhere between attention and dreaming. Scientists studying hypnosis found another curious connection between suggestion and relaxation. Hypnotic states often involve focused attention, reduced stress, and increased responsiveness to calming ideas. Although hypnosis is different from sleep, both involve altered patterns of awareness. The placebo effect may partly operate through similar mechanisms involving expectation and attention. Even the design of bedrooms influences sleep quality. Cooler temperatures, soft textures, quiet surroundings, and dim lighting all help communicate safety to the nervous system. The brain constantly scans the environment, even during rest. Interestingly, certain scents may also improve nighttime relaxation. Lavender, chamomile, and other calming aromas have been associated with reduced stress and improved sleep comfort in some studies. Smell connects directly to emotional and memory centers inside the brain. The immune system becomes highly active during sleep as well. Researchers believe deep rest helps regulate inflammation, repair tissues, and maintain healthy brain function. Sleep may be one of the body's most important healing states. Perhaps the placebo effect becomes especially powerful at night because the mind grows quieter. During darkness, external distractions fade, and the brain turns inward toward memory, emotion, imagination, and expectation. The sleeping brain is not disconnected from the body. It continues shaping hormones, processing feelings, regulating stress, and influencing physical sensations hour after hour. And somewhere in the stillness of the night, while dreams drift softly through the mind and the world outside grows silent, the ancient connection between belief, relaxation, sleep, and healing continues quietly working in the darkness, just as it always has throughout human history.